Hi, this is Sheldon Picoti from New Life Interactive. This video is a tutorial on how to play our first game, Cell Emergence. If you're interested in some of the unusual gameplay mechanics in this game based on cellular automata, check out our game mechanics video. This video is meant more to be just a straightforward tutorial on how to play. So what I'm going to start out explaining are these gauges here. So all this is explained in the tutorial text in the game, but it goes by pretty fast in the middle of gameplay, and I think most players don't have time to stop and fight off their stress and try to look at these gauges. So essentially what is going on is that there are red circles and yellow circles that indicate winning and losing conditions. This gauge down here is for the purple growth. So as the growth in the game grows, this circle in the middle will fill out larger and larger, and if it reaches this red circle, you lose. As long as it's within the yellow circle, you're in a winning condition. So you don't have to worry about that as long as it's just a few blobs like this. This one here is for these balls of seeds. Now these are objects in the game you can't shoot. If you'll notice, you'll get a sound effect saying that you're not really effective at shooting these balls. They essentially are, threats that could be coming from the side of the screen. We'll talk about some exploding stuff later. They could be threats coming from the side of the screen, but instead, they're built into the level, so you can kind of see what's coming in a physical sense. And you can see here the color will tell you what type of threat it is. This is going to be germs that fly through the level. The purple are shoots of growth that come out. So the number of these cells in the game is recorded here. And you can see the losing condition is on the outside. If you have too many of them, you can lose. That actually doesn't happen. I think it could happen in one or two levels, but it doesn't come up as a mechanic. We don't throw too many seeds at you like that. But you do need to fight them off to a point where they come within this yellow circle. So we don't grind the level to the very end where there's just one left, but you need to defend yourself until there's only less than 25 left. That's what the yellow number is telling you. So the yellow number here, 3,000, means you have to have 3,000 or less purple growth cells in order to win the level. Now this one up here is your membrane. So any translucent pixel in the game is membrane. So over here, this doesn't look exactly like a membrane, but it's bone marrow. It's sort of the same thing. We're in the bone right now. So for this, the colors are reversed. Outside is a good condition. You want to have lots of membrane, so that's yellow. But if you lose more than half of it, if you get down to less than 30,000 cells of membrane, then you're in a losing condition for that. So you have to defend the membrane at the same time as fighting off a certain amount of external threats and keeping the amount of cancerous growth to a minimum. So you can see the seed gauge here. Let me pause the game. The seed gauge here is showing lines moving in toward it, so that shows you're getting close to winning. And in terms of, we've basically waited long enough, fought off the seeds long enough to win that stat. The membrane's in a bit of trouble. The lines are coming off of it, and so is the growth here. The growth has got lines coming off, and we've got a little too much purple here. So to win the level now, this one's almost there. We just have to shoot the growth down to a winning state. And there we go. The membrane's being eaten. So you can see the top here was sort of exploding in lines of color to kind of give you a quick indication that you're about to lose because you've lost too much membrane. So in a typical level, the player will be balancing two tasks. One is to defend against incoming threats. You'll see these sprout in a moment. And the other is to defend the membrane in the level. So one way to go about defending the level is to use the construction mechanic, as I'll do here, to kind of zoom in and build a pathway. I press X there to zoom in, and you can build a pathway from a source of antibodies to the membrane. And this will take a minute to sprout, so in the meantime you can be defending the level. So as you can see, by spreading the antibodies, I'm able to destroy much of the growth that's getting into the level. By shooting the membrane, you're basically spreading proteins around that allow antibodies to attach. And typically in a level, if you can establish these pathways and get a level or get a set of membranes secured this way, then you're in pretty good shape, and you can then fight the rest of the stuff off and win. So for part of the game, you can't destroy these red things. You have to just treat the infections that they cause. But eventually you can shoot these clouds into the environment and scrub the germs away. These clouds also will destroy growth. Not 100%. You'll probably miss a pixel or two unless you really kind of concentrate on a spot. Looks like I succeeded there, but it's not guaranteed to get rid of the purple growth, but it can buy you some time, and there's times when you do need to use it for that. So you can see this level is made up of a bunch of different types of cells. This is actually a level that fictionally a previous nanotech unit had tried to defend and left behind some wreckage. So this is actually the first time you've seen some of these types of cells. These pulsing orange ones are actually a kind of a super bomb that will explode and save you from disaster sometimes. And this is enemy nanotech circuitry, which you'll have to battle later in the game. So the game will introduce these later, but some of the mechanics are hinted at, but the player's kind of left to decipher how things behave and learn to use things in the environment to solve problems. So in this particular case, you can see the exploding mechanic happens like this. You set it off, it's kind of like firecrackers. It goes and goes, and you should hit some of this purple growth and destroy it. It's almost like sending antibodies through the environment. The player can actually create that themselves, and again, that's hinted at later in the game. There's a secret mechanism for doing that. It's not too hard to figure out, but that's something players left to discover. And those can also help destroy these circuits here. So actually I weaken this circuit by having that explode. So essentially the player is usually shooting and fighting the immediate threat, occasionally building pathways to defend a given membrane, and just once in a while glancing at these gauges in the corners to just see what's the immediate next goal. So those are the basics on how to play. I hope that this video helps you get acclimated to the game.